I'm Spence Graham with Real Digital Media, a Stratacash company, and chairman of the Digital Signage Federation. And you are watching and listening to the AV Life.
This is Renee Benson coming to you from Kansas City. You can find me at AV Renee KC. You are listening to and watching the AV Life.
Hey, this is James King, the writer for Higher Ed AV with the column IT and AV. You are listening and watching the AV Life.
Hi, this is Nancy Blanchard at Nancy Blanchard, and you are listening to and watching the AV Life.
Hey, this is Joe Way, and I'm with whoever is sponsoring this episode, and you are watching and listening to the AV Life.
My name's Murphy Daly. I'm AV project manager and author, and you are joining us for the AV Life.
And I'm your host, Tim Van Wert at the AV Life Pod, and you are watching and listening to the AV Life. Well, good evening, everybody, or good morning, or good afternoon. Yeah, I feel like I'm on the Truman Show. We are a full year. This is March still, but this is March 2021 for those who needed the input again. I feel like this is the weekly reminder as to it is Monday as this episode is released in March. Yeah, we are here. We are back for another week of the AV Life. Crew, how we all doing tonight?
Tired, but hanging in there.
Tired, yeah.
And fantastic.
We are doing great. You know what? Let's start this off just fantastic, right?
How about
how about that? You know what the listeners are going to be like? Wait, they're all bummed. No, this is going to be just a great episode.
They're all on Prozac.
Well, after the last year we've had, the little mellowing may not be too bad. So, but no,
the show's young.
The show's, yes, exactly.
There's a lot of time for this to get bad.
Yeah.
A lot.
Oh yeah.
You're such a natural marketer, Joe.
Yes.
You know it. I undersell it. Right? Tell everyone how bad it is. And then when you drop good content because of the quality of the guests that are on tonight, who will save this for us, then everyone wins.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. Very true. Yeah. This has been, this is gonna be a great night. I'm feeling good today. It was great weather here in New Jersey. I feel like that's something I like to talk about here in New Jersey is the weather, because we actually have seasons, unlike some of you out on the West Coast.
Like, seriously, that took you like 3 minutes. The only thing every time people from Jersey talk about is, and I've said this before, they start with the weather and then they talk about a random small town where they both know some aunt who owns a cookie shop. Okay, that is people from Jersey
or diner. Yeah,
I live in almost heaven. So
Disco.
And there's actually is a great cookie shop down the road from where I live. So
case right there.
And they deliver till 3 a.m.
Oh my.
Oh, that's bad.
It's great. It is great.
And they're doing it after all the bars are closed.
Of course. Yeah.
Do they deliver the cookies with disco fries?
No. Disco fries you have to, you have to go to the
24/7 here.
Well, they used to be 20 pre-COVID, they were 24/7. And also
making me talk about food from Jersey. Okay, I'm done. You know what? No. Real content.
Well, yeah, but no, you get disco fries from a diner when you're drunk at 3 a.m. and that's when you get your disco fries. Greasy, cheesy, gravy, French fries, and that's what you need.
That helps with the hangover the next morning, right?
Sure.
You don't notice the hangover when you're throwing up all day.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, so let's
we digress.
Let's introduce our guests. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's bring in the quality content by the means of our guests tonight. I'm gonna actually start off because I don't want to start off with her, but I'm gonna introduce our AV rock star second, so we could just slide right into that. But I'm gonna introduce our other guest who jumped in with us at the last minute here, Will DeWitt. Welcome back. How are you, sir?
Hey, thank you. Joined at the last minute. Great expense.
Yeah, well, we were having a great conversation on the HETMA Slack channel. I believe that's where, it was 317 people. So that's, it was on the HETMA Slack channel, and we were talking about an AV Life happy hour, and Will took me up on the offer. So
that was supposed to be on Joe's boat.
At Joe's boat, yeah. Well, Joe's here, so
the change order.
I would be on my boat, except that it's 55 degrees outside, and that's a little cold to be out on the boat.
Oh, come on. No, it isn't.
Yeah. And that's a high, right, Joe? Or for us, it was like low 50s today.
Yeah, no, that was the high. That's what it is right now. But then, the water, the wind and the cold, no.
Wow. And I was outside sweating. It's not often someone gets to flex on Joe for weather.
Well, there you go. I mean, yeah, when you've been drinking though, do you really feel the cold though? So, especially with the, 11 beers was the count for what
11 cases.
About, so.
11 cases.
11 cases.
Yeah.
Right. So, thank you for joining us here. And I am very pleased to introduce our AV rock star for this episode, Alicia Handley. How are you tonight?
Hey, Tim, I'm good. I'm good.
Hey, thank you for being here.
Oh, happy to
Personal
drink this.
friend of mine.
Yes, yeah. The power of positivity on Twitter first thing in the morning. So always looking for those rise and grind tweets, because then it's you, and then Corey Schaefer ultimately retweets it right away. So it's and very much else that we've seen from you. So as we've always done with the AV Rockstar, we have chosen you to shine the spotlight on you, and so that way you can talk about the things you're up to. We can, we know your Twitter life because you're out there with us AV Tweeps, but some other things you're working on, things you want to share with us, and congratulations on being the rock star. So
well, thanks for having me. Like I said, when James hit me up, I was like, sure, I'll come on and sip my wine with you guys instead of doing it on the couch. But
I'm so happy that you're here.
Good. I'm happy to be here, Murphy. I have not been able to talk to a lot of you one-on-one, so this is a good way to do that and kind of get an introduction into Tim and Murphy and everybody that's here. So I appreciate the time.
Well, we are very, very happy you've come to join us tonight.
Can I give a fun fact?
Go ahead, Joe.
Because all podcasts are better with fun facts. Fun fact: probably the last trade show that was live, Alicia was on my podcast. That's live right. From ISE. And now look, we're a year later and we're still not back. So anyway, fun fact, Higher Ed AV, Alicia was the very last guest right before the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
So is this
full circle?
Mm-hmm.
So is this how we get things back in order then? Because now she's on the AV Life. So
I'm gonna say I've spent time with Alicia a couple times, in Vegas, and then several of the DSF regional get-togethers there, and it's good seeing you. It just feels so weird not being at these trade shows even a year later. It's I'm jonesing for it.
It definitely is weird. I mean, I'm hoping InfoComm does happen, since it'll be right in my backyard. I could just hit the drive and kind of come kick it with everybody. But that is right. Last time I was doing a live podcast was with Joe in Amsterdam. And that was my first time to ISE. It was my first time to Amsterdam. So it was just a lot of first times taking place during there. And I actually was watching that episode like a week ago. And I was listening to myself and I go, hey, it's not as big as SARS yet. So I think we're okay.
Also, it's your fault. It's your fault.
I was super hopeful, and I mean, because everybody was like, "Are you still gonna go?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, I've got an opportunity to do it before it leaves Amsterdam, city I've always wanted to go to."
Yeah. I spent a week or a month one night in Amsterdam.
There's a lot of stories that probably start like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. The family
those
show.
are the best type, aren't they?
Wait, since when was this a family show, Murphy?
I know. I wanted to clear up.
Yeah, don't forget, I checked that box off on YouTube that not suitable for children. So
Yeah.
that
Explicit
I was
content.
gonna say we need to take the AV Life on the road to Amsterdam.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, we do.
Or
Any city that will
So-
take us.
Yeah.
That would take us.
Yes, we are
Any
open to
Well,
foreign-
that's what
sponsorship.
I
gonna
was
say,
in
I'm all-
grad school, and we had one night that we could kind of have on our own there because it was kind of a compressed course. We decided to jump on a train. It was a 6-hour ride on 2 different trains, and it was a hoot.
Well, I'm definitely open to any sponsors who want to sponsor the AV Life at Infocom.
That's right.
So
I'm
you know,
working
if
on that. FYI.
was that
I'm working on that.
okay?
I'll
All
shoot
right.
you a contract. I mean, wait.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, go speak to my my business manager over there. You know.
Actually, you
I'll
pointed
have
in the
my
right
people
direction.
call your people.
Well,
That's
it
right.
depends.
on mine, he's
yeah.
below you.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is for me. You're
Right.
that way. So
You're that way for me.
yeah. So
Yes,
oh
that
yeah.
way.
So
Oh,
I don't know. I just pick a direction I point and it never works out right. So so anyway, Alicia, let's talk about you a little bit before we get side railed like we always do. So what I know you've got your new podcast that's out there. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So podcasting is something I've been doing for a while. Many people started, it started with Social Slice. Me and a guy that I consider my mentor, Noble. He was in AV. He's working on his other businesses and doing his other thing. But we had a podcast called Social Slice, which was focused on basically leveraging social media in AV. Not a lot of companies do that well in our space. So we attacked it from that point. And then after that, I also was the host for the Digital Signage Expo podcast. And that's probably my longest running show. And it was very exciting for me. One thing that I love about the digital signage space is that they get content as well. It's not an afterthought. So we had a lot of great conversations on that show, and just the show in general. Like I said, as me and Spencer have been at a couple of DSEs together out in Vegas, and I love the vibe of that show. And we brought it to the podcast. And then, as you know, DSE has died. So a lot of people were asking me where can they get the content? And I was like, well, I don't own that content. So it's about time I own all of my own content. People have seen a lot of my videos. They've heard a lot of my podcasting. You've seen me write on blogs, which is great. But I'm to the point where owning my content is a main focus. So hence the new podcast, which is called Crash Pad. And the idea behind that is everybody's coming to my Crash Pad to talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about, because it's my show. I own the content and I can do whatever the heck I want. So
I freaking love that. I love
That's awesome.
So
That's why she's a rock star.
Everybody's coming to hang out with me and in my Crash Pad, and we're talking about, we're really on the show. I'm really trying to highlight case studies that are at the intersection of art and technology. Don't get me wrong, I can talk tech with the best of them, but on my specific show, when we talk about the case studies, we lead with the experience, and then the technology is kind of that supporting cast star. And then we tie it into all together. How are these case studies about? How did they come together? What were the challenges, the success, and how do you actually lead with experience first and try and help other, manufacturers and designers and integrators look at it from that point of view.
That's awesome. That's It's
That's
um,
super.
what
I
is that,
have
right?
nothing to do with art, but I would love to come and chat with you in your Crash Pad sometime.
Oh, absolutely, Renee. You guys are all welcome, and we'll make it work. It's my show. It doesn't have to be a kid.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I like the no rules.
You've got a whole bunch
Do
of
it.
shows with each one of these people, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's just what it's about. I mean, I got into AV through the creative aspect, and don't get me wrong, I can get in there and do a conference room with anybody else, but the intersection of art, entertainment, and technology is what really gives me the goosebumps. So that's
I
what I'm
love
leading
that.
with.
And
All right.
I
Yeah.
have to say, I could feel that vibe from you on your Van Gogh video.
Yeah.
Like that was really like, I felt the vibe that how the art spoke to you. even through the AV equipment there.
Yeah, I mean, AV is everywhere, right? And it's like I didn't even know that there was a whole AV industry, because most of the things that I was looking to get into was considered event tech or production or media, or sometimes even more leaning towards ad agencies. So the creative is what drives me, right? Like I have to be creative. Like I have to have a creative outlet. And when I see people coming together and using AV technology to do something like the Van Gogh Alive experience, I was like, oh. And then I realized that this was actually right in my backyard at the Dali Museum in St. Petersburg, Florida. Because before then, it was only available overseas. Like I think the first one was in Paris, and then they had one in Sydney, Australia. And then the first one in North America was in St. Pete. And I was like, great time to move to Florida. So I got to go and do that cool video and again, create content from another perspective, because a lot of people know me from the videos at Infocom or at ISE as well. So tie it all together.
Very
So
cool.
James, how did you get to know Alicia?
From Twitter, like just her posting on Twitter, and
Yeah.
that's how I'm actually connected with basically everyone here. And I go back and I blame Joe. It's all Joe's fault. He's the one who, when I first started on Twitter, brought me into the higher ed podcast one day, and then it blew up from there. But yeah, just her vibe on Twitter made me like, I need to connect with her.
I
And
probably had someone cancel. Wait, what?
most likely. That's how it always happened, right?
I'm sure that's how I got on. It's
No, you invited yourself. You know,
I was actually on Clubhouse group the other day, and I had higher ed AV in my bio or whatever. And they're like, wait, there's a whole like vertical dedicated just to higher ed AV.
There's a whole Slack channel.
Yeah.
There's a
It's amazing,
vertical
like the
for
different
AV
groups that you don't
everywhere.
think about.
Right. There's so many different verticals, but I just look at it all as it's all AV.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are one AV family. That's what we are. You know, it's we're all there for each other, and we all sprout from one common thread, you know. So
And I love how
That's a mixed
diverse we
metaphor.
are and how similar that we are, that we all connect at some level, no matter what. Like Alicia, I haven't seen in person, like I'm calling this in person now, in person since, I don't know, 2 Infocoms ago or something. Like, I feel like it's a Twilight Zone ago, but like, here we are. And I'm like, I feel like I haven't missed a beat with her, because I do follow her Twitter and I do follow some of the podcasts. And it's like, I do love that part of it. So as different and diverse as we are, we're all still kind of the same. You know?
That's a
It's a
huge
small
part of
family.
that's a huge part of what we do, right? You
Right.
have to leverage the online with the offline. And a lot of people in our space weren't online into COVID. So it's like starting all over new. But the people who have been online the whole time are kind of like ahead of the game. We all know each other in some form. Like I've never met James in person, but that's my guy. He hit me up and was like, come to the show. I'm like, bet. All right. You know, like that's how it works.
Yeah, the shocker is I actually have not met any AV tweets in person except for one, and that was Bill O'Donnell. I have not met any others in person yet.
Bill, good old Bill.
Yeah, good old Bill. Yeah, everyone knows Bill.
Yeah, he was.
If you're gonna know
sitting
one,
behind
that's
me.
definitely one you want.
Yeah.
We'll have to make sure we tag him in the tweets that he got called out tonight. So
I have so many hashtags already. It's not even funny.
You're gonna need a big book for that tonight.
I know. I need more than this paper I got.
All right. Anything else you want to let our listeners know that you got going on?
I mean, follow me on Twitter. I mean, I'm always putting it out there. The new podcast, new YouTube channel, and that's where James is talking about the Van Gogh Alive experience. So you'll see a lot of videos like that. Gonna go capture a lot of creative spaces that are driven by the technology we use in our industry. So definitely subscribe to that. Maybe not subscribe. Did you see that blog that I posted today, James? So maybe not subscribe. I don't know. Follow it. Whatever you choose to do. But check it out. Let me know what you think. My whole goal is really just to create different kinds of content. You know, I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm just taking what inspires me from other industries and bringing it to our industry. So content is what you'll see from me all over Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. So just link up with me if we're not connected at the Smooth Factor.
Definitely connect with her. And now I got to go find that blog because I did not get much online today. So now I got to go find that.
I think that was why it's pretty neat. I mean, so Alicia, what do you think of it? Because I think it's actually very wise of Apple to do that. Change from subscribe to follow.
Oh, that one. Yes, I did see
Well,
that.
I mean, it's about time. They're the only one that doesn't have follow. And like I told James, like when I hear subscribe, I don't think about money because I came up in the YouTube age. I'm watching a whole bunch of YouTube videos and everybody's saying subscribe. So when I hear subscribe, I don't think about money. I think about a vlogger or somebody who's going to show me a review, take me somewhere with them or something like that. But when I read the article, I realized that Apple, Google, and YouTube are the only platforms that still say subscribe and not follow. And I was like, that's an interesting point of view because when you're used to a certain platform, you're kind of trained to think about subscribe, hit the like, right? So this kind of takes on a new perspective. And especially since every platform is introducing a way to get paid. Like even Twitter is about to introduce a way to where you can raise capital from your brand, right? Everybody is trying to find creative ways to get paid for what they do online and capitalize on their own audience. So kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it's funny. I never actually thought about it that way. That like when you're, because that's what you used to do. You subscribe to like a magazine and you pay for that service. I never really thought of it that way. Like when if I'm subscribing to a YouTube channel, I just want to follow. I want to see what's going on, whether it's restoring a World War II era lighter or, getting the latest movie news, that's what I want to follow. Not that I'm paying for anything, but we all know kids that make videos about toys that make millions of dollars, so it's
indeed.
I never thought much about the whole subscribe thing because to me, subscribe is like you said, Tim, you want to get that information. So instead of following where to me it's you're acting and getting that information, to me, subscribe is their information is coming to me. So like if I subscribe to a newsletter, I'm not paying for it. I'm telling that newsletter, send me information. And that's how I feel like YouTube and the podcasters, I'm going out there and saying, send me these information. This is what I want to know, and not me actively going and finding those.
I mean, but every platform evolves, right? It's just like when Facebook introduced, beyond just the like button, you can heart, you can hit thumbs down. That was a huge conversation, right? Some people loved it, some people hated it, but it's still here. Like it's still part of that social platform. So things are constantly evolving. And like I said, a lot of people are trying to capitalize on their audience to make money. So I see why the word subscribe is kind of transcending into a dollar sign in people's minds. And in that article, they said they interviewed people in about 47%, I think they said, register the word subscribe with money. So if that's the case, maybe it is time to change it up.
Yeah. And the only thing is Twitter still hasn't put an edit button in.
That's coming though. That's coming.
It better come soon.
I agree.
No, I was reading a blog about that today within this Twitter Smarter chat. Shout out to Madeline. She's the one who's really helped me up my game. So if y'all don't know Madeline, she's not an AV tweet, but she is huge on Twitter and she will give you all the social game. Her website just lays it all out there for free. But there was a post from Twitter saying how they're actually going to do that, because I tweeted this, I think last week, and Megan Dutta was like, I am not a fan of introducing edit, because if you tweet something and I like that, and then you go back and edit it, and I no longer like that phrase or that saying, then that, it creates things, especially in politics. And I was like, man, I never thought about it like that.
And I didn't either.
I would say for me, it's just for me, it's like spelling and missing hashtags and stuff like that. Like
for me, I just want to change one letter or actually spell something correct. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was thinking of it from a whole different perspective. But what Twitter is going to do there, or they're saying they're going to do, is delay it. Like there'll be a delay in between the time that you can edit. like a
Mhm.
very small time frame. And I guess that kind of makes sense,
Yeah.
especially in a political sense with the way our government and the state of the world is now. That can get really tricky. So we'll see how soon or how late they actually roll that out. But it was released today.
See,
Yeah.
and that's wise. I actually I like that, and except for there is a sense of immediate feedback, especially during an AV in the AM or things like that, where I can see where you wouldn't want it. But I think it's wise, especially if you are planning your tweets or you're using it for marketing, to be able to do that, because you never know when you're sitting there lining up your next 2 days worth of tweets, or you've got your social media person, the screen gets a little blurry, you don't notice it, but the second it goes out, you know it. So if there is this sense where you're notified that it's going out, but you got 60 seconds to change it, you might see it again. And so I like that. And really Gmail has been doing that forever, right?
Mhm.
You can
Yeah.
go
I've
in
been using that.
Gmail and set your setting how long you actually want it to be before it sends the email,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So I think that's good. That's a good medium, I guess.
I just want to change it right when it goes out. If I
Yeah.
try to put trust and I leave out the "you," I want to go back and I want to be able to edit that really quickly, right?
Mhm.
If we think on a larger scale, which Twitter has to, they have to look at it, because outside of our community, a lot of people go there for news. Like
Mhm.
that's where I get my news. I go to search and I look at my top trending. Like I get all of my news on Twitter pretty much. So it's very important for them to take this seriously if they are going to do it. So
Yeah, the Gmail delayed send has saved me several times.
indeed.
Or I'll hit send them, then like for whatever reason my eyes will center on that one word I screwed up or something that's really mangled, and they're like, oh crap. That doesn't need to go to that
Safety net.
person like that. Hold on.
Safety net.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that'd be nice to have that little Twitter safety net, as you say. But yeah, if it could be, with great power comes great responsibility, as
Right.
as they always say. So that there's some great power behind
Well,
editing a tweet.
I
Go
think
ahead, Murphy.
I think there's shifts going to be happening in social media in general,
Oh yeah.
that there's more platforms coming up and people are finding other ways to get what they want out of this internet that we made so long ago.
Agree.
Mhm.
I mean, just like Clubhouse hits, now Twitter has Spaces. I love Spaces. I rarely on Clubhouse anymore, because the one thing I didn't like about Clubhouse is it was very hard to communicate. If you're not up on stage, how do I communicate with you? How do I follow you? I have to completely leave the app and go to whatever platform you choose, whether that's Instagram or Twitter, and then I have to follow you there. Then I have to write you a message there. Then we have to continue to chat there when I really want you to be on Twitter, right? I really want to connect with you on Twitter. So when Spaces came out, man, I've been having a ball with Twitter Spaces. I love it. But something that somebody brought up in a space today is, what about the hearing impaired? What about, all these audio only apps? We love it because, of course, this is another thing that involves AV, right? You get on there talking about the audio quality, everything else. But, it kind of it cuts out a whole group of people that you can't touch. So there's so many different ways that things are about to change on all platforms, especially Twitter. Twitter is my favorite platform, and then LinkedIn, and then Instagram.
All right, Alicia, just for anybody out there that may not necessarily know, what is Twitter Spaces for?
I just saw that, Renee.
I was trying. I was trying not to call. I was trying not to call out anybody, but
No.
I'm the same way.
I'm sorry. For
That's
those
okay.
that don't know what Twitter Spaces is basically a replica of Clubhouse on Twitter.
Okay.
But this is only on your mobile device. So if you access Twitter from your web browser, you won't be able to see a Twitter space. And
Is it cross platform?
No. So it's only in Twitter. But the thing about it is, Clubhouse is Apple only, iOS.
Yeah.
On Spaces, you can have an Android and be in Spaces.
Oh, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. Like, because I know Clubhouse is only is Apple only. So
How do you access that?
So it's in beta right now, and that's another thing. Everybody doesn't have Spaces yet. But if I'm in a space or I start a space, I can invite you to a space and you can be a listener and I can give you access to become a speaker.
Wow.
So you have to technically follow somebody that has spaces to be in their spaces, or somebody has to invite you into a space as of right now. But today, Twitter announced that it won't be in beta for much longer.
So you're going to have to invite all of us old people into spaces so we know what we're doing, right, Renee?
Right.
I gotcha.
You
I
and me.
gotcha.
The old curmudgeons need an invite because we don't know.
Yeah, you know what's so funny?
Just when you think you know what Facebook's doing.
What's Facebook? Oh, Facebook's a thing I just post to because I have to
Yeah.
when there's a new
Yeah.
episode coming out. No, but what's the funniest part about having multiple Twitter accounts is like the higher ed AV Twitter account has spaces, but like my personal doesn't, and the HETMA has one, but then my book doesn't. Oh, have I told you about my book? I do have a book.
Oh, here
Tell us
comes
about
another
your book.
shameless
Here
plug.
comes the
plug.
You have
I
a
got
book.
there. I got there.
You have a book, Joe Way?
I do. It's called Producing Worship. You can find it on Amazon.
Okay.
Hey, Murphy, don't you have a book or two?
Oh, I'm
4.
so glad you mentioned that.
Hey.
I need to get my oldest book, which is AV adjacent, because it's kind of fictionalizing my AV experience from a long time ago, into physical form. It is Kindle only right now on Amazon, but you can certainly find that book and my 3 other books on Amazon right now. So look my name up, Murphy Daily. You will find all kinds of great stories.
I will do that. I did not know. I will do that. That was a great
Yeah,
shameless
if
plug.
you, if you like a Kindle book, The Parable of Miriam the Camel Driver is my first book, and it's a fun little read talking about balancing career, ambition, and creativity.
Ooh, sounds like me.
Yeah, you might like it.
Sounds like
I love
me.
that title, by the way, Murphy.
Yeah,
It's-
that's a killer.
Every time she says it, I think I love that.
Oh,
and
I
you can
prefer
also find-
Kindle book, so that's definitely going on the list.
And you can find Joe Way's book also on Walmart too, since he's not here to say that. So
You're gonna have to give me tips, Mr. Way, on how to get mine on Amazon.
How long have we been recording? Because we need to start recording.
Oh my God.
How long it takes to get all the shameless plugs in?
well, it's about 30. It's about 30 minutes into the episode. So
Oh,
this
well,
is-
then we're kind
I
of
think this
Took him
I think this is
long.
a record. Yeah,
Yeah.
this took
Well-
a while this time. So
Well, as an AV person, I definitely have experience in taking this AV technology and making it usable for people to communicate, but I also communicate on my own through my books, and I have a deep love of books. I have a YouTube channel written by Murphy where I review books. I think I have 70 videos up there now reviewing different books that I have read, with an emphasis on American literature prior to the 20th century.
So let's bring this kind of full circle.
Hmm.
As most YouTubers, do you end your video with like and subscribe?
Good question.
No, actually, I end it with, let's keep the conversation going. Tell me what you think.
There you go.
all right. Well, and
Because
yeah,
I
we have
mostly,
our-
Are we
they're
talking
on my
about tagline?
blog as well. Excuse me?
Are we talking about taglines? Is that how you-
well, we were
Well-
talking about closing out YouTube videos.
Yeah. I don't care if you subscribe. If you want to talk to me about it, tell me what you think about the book I just talked about. Tell me what you think about Walden. Tell me what you think about the autobiography of Benjamin Franklin, all the books that I'm reading. And that's what I want more than the subscription. And so they're on different platforms. They're on my website, written by Murphy, the Wonder Blog. And I put things around so they can be on anywhere. They can be on Facebook. They can be in all the places. So I don't think about like and subscribe. I'm just like, let's keep the conversation going. Tell me what you think and read the book and tell me what other book you think you'd like to read.
Murphy, are you a speed reader? Because I feel like you're like popping out those books like.
I have realized that I read more books than most people do. So yeah, I read a lot.
Yeah.
All authors are speed readers. You have to be. It comes also with like research.
Are you
Like,
saying
you
that
know-
about yourself, Mr. Way? Dr. Way?
No, but it's true. You know that when you're like writing something, like, because you know you want to look for information, you have a way you can find the thickest book ever. And it'll take you no more than like 4 minutes to find that one piece of information you need to find in it. Like you just have this way of going, there it is. And you don't even know that it's really there, but you know it's there.
Hey, Renee, do you remember the Evelyn Wood Hedgesped reading class? That's an old one.
Bench, you're dating yourself. Even Renee's like, nope, never heard of it.
I was hoping Renee would be the only one to get it, but no.
I remember seeing some sort of speed reading course because
it was a Cheech and Chong gig.
Cheech and Chong was around when I was a kid. Yeah. Because my parents would play the movie and then I'd have to leave the room. It was a
right.
Oh, those were fun.
And then you sat at your door like this. What does that mean? Now I know.
And knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe.
So
I knew that. I got that one. Go ahead.
I've got a question.
Sure.
And it kind of revolves around what we were just talking about a second ago. I was trying to find on Twitter. Personally, I've always hated at the end of YouTube videos where people say, hey, like and subscribe my video, blah, 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 blah. But I was just looking, or I can't find the clip or the post, but someone was talking about how they had always like refused to actually do that. But the second they did, their actual subscribers went through the roof. And so it's interesting, kind of got me thinking about how often we tend to not want to ask for things that we could have otherwise gotten in general, not just as YouTube or Twitter or whatever, but also from administration, as AV professionals, as career people. I don't know if any of y'all have ever dealt with that, but I know I tend to go with the cheapest, whatever easiest solution there is. And I've realized that sometimes I need to ask for more than I'm naturally wanting to.
That's hard for me, as I have asked Joe to lead me in the ways of shameless self-promotion. It's hard for me to push for it. I'm like, it's wonderful all by itself. If it's not your thing, okay, fine, it's not your thing. But I need to explain why it's truly extraordinary. I believe in it, but I'm like, there's lots of things out there. So I'm like,
Joe's been doing this. Joe's been doing the selfish.
Wow, talk about a Freudian flip there.
Yeah, I know, right?
Wow. The shameless plug. Wow, sorry, Joe. The shameless plug thing for a while, because actually it was funny. I was going back looking at old AV Life episodes, the ones with Corey Moss, and Corey even called him out on his self-promotion was where I was going with that, and I couldn't get it out. It came out totally differently.
I liked your version.
It was like it was. That was from like 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's been a while.
Yeah. So yeah, wow. Joe's well versed in the self-promotion world.
That's the thing. It's I listened to those, I don't know, free webinars of how to like promote yourself or whatever. And they say, you have to have a call to action. I'm like, I'm really bad at that, but I can learn. I could learn to have a call to action, and the call to action is like and subscribe. And that way people get the information and get,
Well, aren't they also trying to monetize their stream though?
Yeah.
I do not have a problem with trying to monetize.
Look, all of life is sales, period. Everything is sales. Okay. It doesn't matter. No matter what you do
by your friends,
you are always doing sales in some way, some fashion. Okay. But also let's put this to a test. So everyone who's listening, press pause for 1 second. Click the like or subscribe button depending upon what it is you are listening to. Open the Twitter app and follow at the AV Life Pod. Again, we're going to be a couple of seconds to do it. Open the Twitter app on your phone and like at the AV Life Pod.
Listen to this man showing us how to do a call to action.
You can come back to the app. I mean, I know that actually I told them to pause it, so they shouldn't be hearing this, but we know they really
well, they will eventually.
They didn't. No, they didn't. We know that they didn't. And now they're laughing because they know that they didn't pause it.
And we're calling them out. Yeah.
And we're calling them out on it. Now you can come back. You can unpause. I know you didn't really pause. You've already liked, you subscribed, and now you've followed the AV Life on Twitter. There you go.
And you should also bookmark higheratav.com
There you go. See, you
While
threw
you're at
that in there. But see, here's, you know what? It's actually interesting because believe it or not, I'm actually a pretty shy person.
No, you're not.
No.
No,
Yeah,
really. I am.
Get out.
And it was actually
inside this big bombastic Joe. There's a tiny little shy person that's hiding. It's hiding so
It
well.
really- But see, here's the thing. All right, we're going to talk for a moment. All right.
You're gonna talk for a moment.
Yes, I'm going to talk for a moment.
Tell us, Joe. Tell us.
This is
Go
where
ahead,
you can
Joe.
pause.
Tell us.
Oh, I see. Hashtag Joe take. I told you I'm not taking over.
Yeah. Until you do. That was the other
Until
hashtag.
you do. Hashtag we don't believe you.
So I had a great mentor once, and it was really to overcome kind of the imposter syndrome, because I always used to think early in my career that I never had anything that I could offer the industry, because everybody was always what? Don't quit laughing. There was always someone you looked up to and you thought you didn't belong in the room. And one of my mentors was the person who you've always felt you didn't belong in the room with. And so then one day he takes me to a party with him. And every time someone asked him a question, he's like, "Hey, Joe, what do you think on this?" And he spent the entire night doing that. The next day, I all of a sudden had all these connections, people who wanted to reach out to me, people who wanted to hire me. And my same mentor said, "Look, no matter who you think you are, you have something to offer this industry. Don't be afraid to voice it, because someone needs to hear your story." And that's really what we need to take away, especially during COVID. And during, if we look at, last month, we had, Black History Month, we have Women's History Month this month, and we have, we need to get to where we take all these opinions and diverse opinions and our young AV professionals, and everyone has to be able to have a platform and a voice, because we all have something to be able to offer. And so I joke about it because, I know how to take over, but the fact is, we need courage to speak up in this industry. And I think there's a lot of voices that need to be able to do that. And I'm just some random guy who gets paid by a university. I'm like nothing, right? They fire me tomorrow, I'm a nobody. But the fact is, hopefully other people can know that you have something you can offer, and everyone needs to join the conversation. So shameless plug yourself. Do it. There you go.
You know what, Joe? Joe, I know we make fun of you taking over and stuff like that, but this is why I let you take over, is that, there's always good information that comes from it. And, you're right. This is things that need to be heard. They need to be said, so.
Here's what I had to say about my friend Joe Way. He's the only guy in this industry so far that can make me cry and laugh and then cry and then laugh all in like a 3-minute time frame.
Yep.
Because what he has to say is so real. And I just want to hug you, Joe. And then I just want to poke fun at you. And then I want to hug you again. And I love that I've gotten to know you so well through this podcast. I'm not taking this serious, but I love that you did that, Joe, because we do have a lot of fun. And I think we need to sometimes reel it back into what it is, right? And Alicia talked about it earlier. I think we reel it back into, this is how I feel and this is how it's going to be. And
I think your friend, the mentor, was a genius, because he did not have to think all night. Like him, go there. Yeah. And then he got to hand it off to the Joe, and Joe's like,
is that where Joe learned to take over?
I think there's
could be.
But there's a mentorship happening, because anybody who's on this show turns into a shameless plug person, which is fine. But I listened to James today on the High Red AV, and I'm like,
more contagious than COVID.
Turning them into I love it. It's all about it.
I think there's a good lesson there in how to build up the people we're working with and kind of mentor people as well, to kind of push them out into the spotlight, because they're not going to be confident enough in themselves generally. I mean, I still don't feel like I'm confident enough to step out. But if someone says, "Hey, what do you think?" Here, pull, and like basically literally pulls you onto the stage, well, then you're kind of forced to get out there. And that's the only way you're going to learn is by getting out of your comfort zone. And sometimes people just need that little push because we're an industry of introverts naturally, generally. I'm
It's
generalizing
like Joe
majorly
had
there,
that
but you know,
person. It's like Joe had that person that would just push him in the pool, right?
Yep.
Like when I growing up, you have that one person that'll just push you in the pool. And I still don't know how to swim to this day because I'm like, damn, I wish I had that person who would just push me in the goddamn pool already, right? The way I became that person is I was always the only person in the room who looked like me. So if I caught you staring at me, I introduced myself. If I caught you standing with a group of people who all look like you, I walk up to you and start a conversation. If I saw someone who I knew from the internet and I wanted to know them personally, I walk right up to them and introduce myself. I legit forced myself, no matter if I was sweating in my palms and shaking in my boots, whatever the case was, I legit forced myself. I threw my own self into the pool because I didn't have a choice. Like you're either going to be the only person in the room that looks like you and then leave and not know anybody, or you're going to be the only person in the room that looks like you and leaves knowing everyone, and everyone knows you, not only because you look different, but because you are you, right? Like you have something to offer. So go after it, man.
I love
That's
that
awesome.
you had enough
That's
tenacity
awesome.
to do that. Because I feel like when I started in the industry in the Midwest, in a good old boys network, and I would go into situations where I was the only gal around all these guys, same thing. Oh, you want to talk football? Here I am. I'll talk football and baseball with you all day long. And oh, you want to go drink beer? I'll do that with you too. And then, oh, you want to talk technology? I'll do that too. And it took a long time to get that around to go, I'm here with you.
Exactly.
Let's go.
And they're not going to forget you because you had you started the conversation off genuinely off of, you know, whatever it was. It doesn't have to be technology. It was just legit.
It was legit, just conversation. 15 years later, I have people that are my friends and that's not my customers. They're just my friends.
Exactly.
And, you know, all of you on this screen, I consider friends. And at any given time, I might sell you something, I might not. We're going to go like Joe, we see each other at the Drunk Uncles. Where are you? I'm going to buy you a beer. I don't even know if we talked about work or anything that I did.
Nobody cares about work.
What it was.
Well, I don't know. I bought a lot of NEC right afterwards, so we probably.
Well, I don't know. It might have been coincidence.
There's
right
there's
after.
a shameless plug.
Yeah,
There it is.
But in some roundabout way, it comes back. It comes back to you by making that genuine connection in some form or fashion, whether it's that same night, the next day, 3 years later, whatever the case is. Making those authentic connections does come full circle.
Well, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's not authentic. Sometimes you go to somebody and they're like not into talking to you at all. But I got the practice, you know.
Exactly. Sometimes it's not good vibes, and it's like, all right, on to the next one. You got it out the way. Like it's like that saying when you get a whole bunch of no's and then you finally get to your yes. All right, get through the bad vibes, and then you find your tribe. Right. It's all trial and error, honestly. Like,
well, and that's what they say. That's what they say. That's the facts of life. You take the good, you take the bad, and it.
I mean, like I dropped.
Oh, good. I'm glad Murphy got that at least.
Wow. I said in the last week.
You guys never listened to me during the firing range anyway, so right.
Something that's been interesting to me over the past years, having to stare at my face and see what expressions I naturally make.
That's always fun.
My wife likes to make fun of me and say I have a resting serial killer face.
Oh my gosh.
Because I just look like I'm ticked off when I just have my natural look on my face.
Okay,
what would you look like
to the
if you put a
COVID.
hoodie on?
Prior to everybody being on Zoom and the COVID, all right, I am the person with all the customers, and I'll be like with all the customers, and I'm the only one with my video on all day long, project meeting after project meeting with tons and tons of people. They do not have, and I got a letter, you know, I got a J, I got a D, I got a V, and all these people, I'm like, I'm staring at you. And I get very accustomed to looking at my own self. Oh, hi, everybody. How are you today? And I'm the only one on there. Now people are kind of showing up, maybe. So I'm happy about that. In this particular instance, we got all these faces. So I don't have to look at my own face and I have to like go, oh, is that a hair sticking out or whatever. So it's really nice that Zoom has brought the faces of other people so I don't have to look only at my own face. That COVID has done that for us.
I was in a meeting today where a higher up basically said, I need everybody to turn their video on because we've got to have a serious talk. And he wanted to see everybody's reaction and engage the room just because some things that are, having to be dealt with, and everyone needed to see. And I don't think it was even so much for him. I think it was more for everyone else to feel a part of the community and see that everyone else was feeling the same way as him or as each other, like, so that, because otherwise, you're locked off, you're by yourself, you don't have that community connection with your coworkers.
Well, see, if I knew I was going to tell a really funny joke, I'd want everybody so I could see the, I'd be the guy saying, you have to have your video on so I can see when you get the punchline.
So like what we talked on the higher ed one is like Joe said, that just putting the message out there, how you doing? Because you're not the only one out there. And going back to like the early conversation is like, that's one reason why I connect so well with everyone here is the conversation's organic. You're not forced to talk. It's all organic and it's great. That's why I love connecting with everyone. Alicia, Tim, Will, Renee, Murphy, like it's all organic and nothing's forced. And that's how we grow and build our community.
All right. So question. Oh, no, it's your show. Go right ahead.
No, go ahead, Joe.
Hashtag takeover.
So, and I'm going to aim this. You brought something up, James, but I want to bring it back to Alicia. How do we then take this kind of authenticity and bring it especially to, and all right, let's talk about, our young professionals, those see, to me, you have a great mentor at Haggai. Like someone who is in this industry is just a rock star. And like personally to me, through my fire, has made just been an incredible encouragement. And then you look at, our young professionals and, and we have women and people of color. And like, how do we now take this and create this influence that can now move the industry forward? And I don't know if I even know how to frame the question, but I think you know what I'm trying to say.
Maybe.
How do we do that?
Are you trying to say, how do we make this industry more diverse? How do we?
No, but I don't even want to go there. I don't even want to go there. I want to say, how do you get the voices out? Right? Because we all know we need to be more diverse, but how do we get the voices out? How do we have people like and let's be honest, you're a rarity. Like you are here, like, and I don't want to get into why I absolutely, if people say I'm like the shameless plug person, but here's what I love. You show up at events with a camera crew. You show up at events and you are ready to say, here's me, here's where I'm at, here's my industry, here's how we fit, here's the great people of my industry, here's what my industry is doing. You're the one we're all looking up to. Every single person who has a podcast, every single person who has a blog, everyone who has any influence in this industry behind the scenes, and you might not know this, are all sitting there going, how do I do what Alicia's doing? I don't know if you know that, but we're all saying that.
I'm one of them.
Well, that's huge.
Wait,
my
what was the question?
I don't know, but because I wanted to go, how do we get your voice?
All the voice.
Everyone do that.
We need to hear all the voices is basically, and how do we do that?
That's a hard question, right? Everybody puts themselves out in a different way. Every last one of us on this call does it differently, right? Yeah, we're on a podcast. There's a shit ton of podcasts, right? How do you stand out, right? And what I did with the video was very unique, and it definitely helped push. But I invested in myself, right? Nobody sponsored me. Nobody said, hey Alicia, here's the money to go shoot these videos at Infocom, right? I paid for my own way to get there. My employer didn't get me there. I legit invested in myself. So I would say start there and invest in a platform to tell your story, right? And do it in a way that is uniquely you. You're not going to do it the same way that I do it, but you can start a YouTube channel. You can start a podcast. You can do every single thing. You can create content and use your voice to reach people. So just be yourself, organic, and strategize it, right? Like a lot of the times what we do is we just create content and put it out there and hope somebody sees it. Be strategic. Don't just post just to post. Do everything with intention. And that's what I do, whether it's a video, whether it's a podcast. I do everything with very specific intentions on where I want it to go, who I want it to reach, and what I want to do. Every piece of content is legit to inspire somebody about our industry, whether it's digital signage, AV, media, the creation of the content. I want people to know what we do is cool. How do you do that? You make it look cool, right? There's not to downplay anything that has already been built up in our industry, but the content I create is totally different from everybody else's content. So find a way to make your voice stand out and be different. I haven't reinvented the wheel. Everything that I've done within my videos is legit from a travel blog, right? If you go to any travel vlog, what do they say? Come on, today we're going to the freaking, I don't know, we're going to Amsterdam, or we're going to China, or like, I legit
your own. That's awesome.
Yeah, like, so I'm inspired by a lot of different other industries. What inspires you? Is it a cooking show? Start a goddamn cooking show and have AV people on it. You know why? Because we all love to eat. We all love to drink. And you know what? Okay, maybe then your show is being a part of a tweet up and you're serving the food at a tweet up, right? Like, be creative on how you put yourself to the market. Honestly, we're all here as a community and everybody wants to see you win. So don't be afraid to try something different, because it actually helps other people find us.
Good
And
point.
I mean young people, women, people of color, everybody. And another thing I put out last month, I think it was the last day of Black History Month. And that's when Avixa posted the playlist of everybody that they had on all month long.
Yeah.
And I said, it's great that you guys did this. You posted it on the last month or the last day. Great. Okay, this has been going on all month. But they put faces that you guys already knew. They put me, they put Wallace, they put Alexis, they put people that are kind of familiar, of course, to get traction, which is great. But what I want to see is after Black History Month, I want to see everybody who was on that playlist be engaged on a podcast. Like, let's actively find what we're looking for, right? I don't know that many people of color in the industry, but I've started actively going out and finding people. I've actively started connecting with women in our industry. Like, I've actively telling young people like, yo, you can go to a trade school and you know what? You don't have to be a music producer. If that's what you love, great. But you need some money to fund that, right? You need some money to get your home studio up and running. Come join AV, get some bread in your pocket and fund your dreams at the same time as learning your craft as well, right? There's so many different ways into this industry. And when you have a voice, I think you should just highlight those.
Oh,
Mike wasn't on a stand.
mic
I'd
drop.
say you need to do a mic drop.
I mean,
That was, yeah, that
Insanely
was
great.
amazingly said. Yeah. Yeah. We all have to, we also, with all of us that have platforms now, we need to give out the platforms and get everybody out there. Like,
right. I mean, and I've built an audience for myself, but I didn't do that on my own, right? I started guest blogging with Tim. Even I worked with Corey Moss at one point in time. Like, you have to partner with people. We all need each other. You don't go this far alone, right? You have to start somewhere. But ultimately, when you get an audience, what are you going to do with it?
But I still think that the key to what you're saying is how strong you are, how strong of an individual you are. And you right now are inspiring me to think. I'm in my mind going, okay, so I need to do more than you. You're a very strong person. And I'm very glad you're here for our Rockstar episode. And I want you to know, I truly believe in what you've said. And I hope that if it just touches one person to say, just put yourself out there.
Well,
oh my
Renee,
gosh.
Wait, Renee, you said that she's a strong person, but the thing is, strength comes through reps, right? So Alicia just said how it scared her to have to go meet strange people.
What she did, she went right through it. She was
Yes.
strong enough to go, I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to walk up to people that don't look like me. I'm going to walk up to people who I don't know.
I
met a bunch of
this.
strange people tonight.
Yeah,
Every time you did that, it made you stronger.
I
Every
remember the
time you
first time
did
I
it,
met.
made
I
you
remember
stronger.
the first time I met Spence.
Yep.
He
Oh.
walked right up to me. We were at a digital signage. I think it was a Federation local event. You know, and I don't know what caused him to walk up to me, but I'm sure I was so happy that he did because I was low key like stalking him.
Well, we wanted to make you feel welcome, and I wanted to know who you were and what your story was.
But you know, okay, all right, I'm taking over again just for a second because you got, I'm sorry, you might have to edit this part, Tim. Sorry, I know you don't want to edit, but you might have to edit. Okay, because I'm gonna do some name calling, like not name calling. I'm gonna drop names.
Okay.
Like Europe.
All right. So if we look, because I don't want to just talk about like diversity as in number of, getting more diverse people in the industry, but you're an incredible voice. What you just said, everyone needs to hear. And by the way, you have people are listening, but let's look at the top 5 media organizations in this industry. Okay. If you take the top 5 media organizations, you've got, Rave and it's got Gary, and you've got AV Magazine with Clive, and you have AV Nation with Tim, and then you have Commercial Integrator, and you can call Craig or whatever, whoever I know it's not a podcast. And then you have Higher Ed AV with me and me. We're all photocopies of each other. Look at the 5 people in charge of those organizations.
That's why I started my own. To be
So
honest
how do
with
we get
you.
more of you? That's what I mean. Like you need to build. We got to build your platform because the top 5 in this industry, we're all photocopies of each other.
Hey, it takes time. It takes time to create change. I mean, I'm doing my part. Like Renee said, I inspired her. Boom, my day is made. And I said this on my interview on AV Nation for Black History Month. Like, what do you want? I think the question was, what do you want people to know about you, or what effect do you want to have on the industry when it's time to hang up your hat or you go, you pass away? I'm like, well, AV is great, but I don't love it that damn much where it's going to be on a tombstone, right? I want to inspire somebody every day, whether they get in the AV industry or not. Whether I encourage somebody to start a podcast or not, I want to inspire one way or another. And that's all I'm here to do. So my night is made.
So I will say you have definitely inspired me from a second I've connected with you on Twitter and stuff. And that's actually one of the reasons I pitched this whole AV Rockstar to Tim was I actually had you in mind as the first one.
Well, I appreciate that.
And, this went back to,
it's kind of
and I'm not calling AV Nation out on this because I know it wasn't their fault. But when Joe pointed out at all the AV professionals of the year, with me being one of them, we all were carbon copies of each other except for one. And that blew my mind because I can tell you right now, every single female on here deserved that nomination before me. 100%. I will say.
Okay, Joe.
Me.
Do you remember Eleanor?
Eleanor?
Yeah, she was an editor for AV Nation.
Yes. Okay. Yes. I'm like,
yeah.
okay.
So look a little deeper, maybe. She's a fantastically talented person. She left and moved on to another situation. But I mean, maybe you're like, wait, we're all carbon copies. Like, well, okay, look, turn the page, see who else is there.
True.
Well, the people
the current faces of those organizations.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's it. The people that we want to spotlight, like we're doing tonight, are there. Like we need to get those people and elevate them, and that's
one rock.
I will say this.
One rock star.
I will say this though, that Tim and I actually have conversations all the time that we're having about this. How do we change this? How do we get more of or how do we get less of more of us going into those positions? You know what I'm saying?
May I suggest that you get action items out of those conversations?
But that's the hard part is we don't. we
Well,
don't
project
know.
manager going to tell you, here's a couple good reasons. Find somebody to look at that function. Don't just go, what do we do? Oh no, oh no, oh no, it's terrible, it's terrible. No, find something, get somebody. And if you don't know somebody, go name them. Say, I don't know who, but let's go down to the junior college and see who wants to get involved.
Is this like the whole like performing CPR? Like instead of saying somebody go do this, like go like name somebody and
Yeah,
point
because
them
I'm
and
tired
go.
of this hand wringing nonsense. Okay, it's just sitting around feeling terrible. Oh, it's terrible. Oh, it's a terrible that this thing is exactly the way it's always been and forever and ever. And let's all talk about how it's terrible. We can do action items.
Yeah,
we can.
I mean, I've never gone that far, like what Murphy's talking about, but I agree. I've been in many meetings in general, just business meetings and stuff that were like, oh, let's do this. Let's do this. Well, and then everyone leaves and there's nothing gets done.
Yeah.
So,
no. Something did just happen. Everything stayed the same. That's what just happened.
Exactly.
And again, this point
we had a feel good conversation about it.
Oh, I know. And isn't it
yeah,
wonderful?
and
Let's go
we're
cash our
happy.
checks.
We're very happy that you got all warm and fuzzies. But this goes right back to why I started my own, why I am owning my own content. You see, and I'm so happy that came from Murphy and not from me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm so happy. I'm so happy that you said that, because yes, we get in these conversations and everybody gets the warm fuzzies. Yes, we want change and nothing happens, right? All right, cool. Nothing's going to happen. Then I'm going to be the change. I'm going to start my own, because I could have easily pitched my podcast to anybody. I could have pitched it to Avixa if I wanted it to, right? But that doesn't change anything. If I want things to change, and I had to was like, all right, screw it. I'm going to start doing shit on my own. Boom,
Right.
here I am.
Here.
I live by the
It's
motto,
gonna
be the
start a
change you
snowball
seek.
effect. Yeah, I mean, let's start the snowball effect. Like Alexis Labor, she has her own show on Rave. You know what I'm saying? And her show hardly ever gets mentioned. And it's newer, but still, it's just as great as any other show in our space. Like, there's a lot of people out there doing it, but are we looking? Let's start. So here we are. We just keep a snowball effect, keep inspiring.
This leads a little bit into my PM minute. I know it almost felt like we
PM
were going to get there, but I'll lead it into pretty quick. Okay, this is my PM minute. Change your perspective. That's the basic of it. What happened is today I moved my had my Christmas wreath sitting down next to me. It was inside the camera, but it isn't in this camera shot right now, but it was in my camera shot in all my meetings. I'm like, I got to move this wreath. It needs to go away. Right. And I'm like, oh, look, that's no longer what's in my sight. Something else is in my sight. Now I can see things a little bit differently. If we change our perspective, we change what we see. And we can manage our projects differently. We can manage our teams differently. We can see what might be possible differently if we change our perspective.
What are you gonna do? Move a whole industry out the way to change your perspective, Murphy? At this
If
point,
that's what it takes. You started it, Alicia. You want to go there, say, hey, get up, stand up, start talking to people, see who answers, and do what you feel like you got to do.
I love it.
But,
I love
I mean,
that.
why couldn't we change the whole industry? Why can't we flip it on its head and get these voices out there?
Well, that's what we need to.
It just takes a minute, I think.
One day at a time.
And if it inspires one person a day, or if it,
hey,
it is
there
what
are
it is,
footprints
right?
on the moon. What else are we going to do?
And I do agree with Murphy. It's about being positive and go, where do we go tomorrow? Not what happened yesterday, right? We're going forward. And there's a lot of old school mentality still in our industry. But what do we got to do to recruit, right? What do we got to do to recruit the change, right? What do we got to do to make a difference? And that all starts within ourselves.
One AV tweet at a time.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
Right.
Nancy, go ahead.
But with Alicia, what you're doing is you're also sparking creativity, so that for people internally, they might all of a sudden have ideas that they never really thought about. And so they're able to bring those out and maybe be able to act upon them.
Yeah. And I mean, that's kind of been a growth hack for me, right? They're like, oh, Alicia, I like your videos. How do we do that? Whether it's a manufacturer or integrator, right? And then that creates a sales funnel for me. Because then my side hustle is bringing in just as much as my day job, right? And then I leverage those to, because it's very easy to stand out in this space if you just do it. Like if you legit just freaking do it.
That's like a big piece, right? Like,
oh yeah.
Nike didn't say just do it because it was nothing. Like, just do it, right?
They said it because it made a lot of money, and it was
in the long run, yeah.
But you know what?
It also made a lot of money because it's true.
But you know what? That's the thing. It made a lot of money in the long run, and that's what we need to do.
But here,
it's like it's making that change now, and then making those changes.
But there are so many companies that want to see it up front. They want to see the change. If they don't see the results, then they move on.
It's a long game. Like I'm just now getting to this point that I'm at, right? I've legit been in the industry technically for over 12 years. Right? My first, if y'all saw some of my first videos, like I didn't just show up to InfoComm with a production crew. I don't, like I make decent money now, but when I first found out what the AV tweet space was, I was dead broke. Like I couldn't have my camera crew out there with me. Nobody, like you grow every year, every day, and continue to invest in yourself, and then you get to ultimately where you want to be.
Yep.
One of the pieces of advice I got when I was in school for video production from one of my teachers was basically, if you don't look back at what you did a year ago and cringe, you haven't improved. Like you should always look back and go, oh, that's awful. Why would anybody watch that? But that just means you're getting better. You're improving. You're moving forward.
That's all I can do, each day.
Keep moving forward.
Keep moving forward.
Keep moving forward. Yeah. Hey, I could make a Disney reference with that.
That's awesome. I'm so happy you were able to be here.
Hey,
thank you.
You're so cool. You're so cool.
I love this.
Rockstar.
I love it.
The thing is, and here, I'll give you something else to edit out. Tim.
So far, nothing's being edited yet. So we're good.
Because all right, so you know that I came from House of Worship and also TD'd Saddleback and stuff, and this whole conversation just brought me to, and I'm sorry, but it's 1 Corinthians book 14, and you've got
chapter and verse. Bring it.
Well, if you want the verse, I'd have to look it up. It's like 9, 10, or 11, though. It's right in there. But I want to go 10. Make me say 10. Anyway, Paul, we've got the idea. See, you threw me off on that. But it is
good.
The whole idea. There are many languages in the world. None are without meaning.
Oh, 10. Actually, you were right, Joe.
Is it 10?
It is 10.
I'll tell him he's right.
Undoubtedly, there are all sorts of languages in the world, yet none of them is without meaning. It is 10.
And I think that's where I'm going to on this. And I kept coming to that thinking, like, we have so many different voices in this industry. They all have meaning. They all have purpose. They all bring us to a better place. And this has been like my favorite episode ever. Can Alicia be here every day? Like, this is like, can we do like a one-on-one every day and I can just learn from you? Because this was just fantastic. So that was
thank you. So Alicia, thank you so much for joining us tonight. This is, like we've always said, this is what needs to be heard in our industry, and you've definitely brought it here today. So thank you so much. And I hope for all of our listeners out there, follow Smooth Factor, definitely follow her out there on Twitter. And
she's more fun in person too. So meet her at the shows.
So yeah, go get your vaccine, get to a trade show. Let's get healthy. Let's get back together. Then we can have a group hug with Joe Way. So and Alicia.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah,
thank you for having me.
By the way, Tim didn't extend it yet, but I know he means it. You're always welcome. We love input. This is
drive by.
Hey, you guys
drive by always. Yeah,
let me know. Hit me in the DMs or email or my website, whatever. James knows how to make it happen.
If you're thinking of us on a Thursday night and you want the Zoom link, just shoot me a message. I'll send it over to you. So
you just told that to everybody, by the way.
Yeah, I'll have to crash your.
We really mean it for Alicia.
But we like.
I really mean it for Alicia.
I mean it.
All right, Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Bye. Golly, that was awesome.
Oh, that was amazing.
Yeah.
That was, yeah. So
She's a blast in person too.
I've never,
I mean,
I've
she's
never met
brilliant.
her. So this was great. I've never met her. I've just always
I
seen
met
her
her
on
at
Twitter. I've
Yeah.
never seen you.
A couple of years ago.
Oh, did you?
Like a
Yeah.
Tim Albright tweet up kind of situation. And it was like, oh, I know you. And I miss those so bad.
Good ideas. Yeah.
We'll
coming.
get
October,
back
October
Coming.
can't come soon enough,
Wow.
because I'm not going to Barcelona.
And by the way, for those who are wondering, Oh Shucks in Orlando is currently open at 100% capacity. So no
Wow.
worries. AV Roki is going to be rocking on Tuesday night.
Yeah, I'm not worried at all.
Start thinking of your selections now. Well, that's that could be well. As I said, I will bring the video. Well, no video, but I'll bring you coffee, Joe, and same thing for Lex as well. So,
When the show floor opens Wednesday morning, I will be stumbling around.
and I'll
if
have
I'm
your
not-
coffee waiting for you.
If I'm not, you better be very,
Plan
you'd be very
something.
upset.
There you go. Or well, Will has
You have
Pepsi.
planned something for the AV Life while we're there. And I don't know
Oh,
if
yeah.
everybody's
A
gonna be
special
there.
on the road episode.
There will be. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Yep.
If there's a sponsor and I can get there, I will. There'll be
yeah.
something. So
Well, I'm planning to be there, so I hope everybody's there.
because Rutgers,
Okay.
I've been told we're not paying for us to go there this year. So it's
We'll
got to
talk
be.
to
It's
you
got to.
offline.
Yeah, we'll figure
You're
something out.
not. Did you say you're
Hey,
not?
As a representative of Rutgers, I will not be there. So
Yeah, we're
That
not.
doesn't
doing
mean
There
the
might
AV
be a
Life won't be
guy
there.
That's-
now.
Mustache
Exactly.
and dark
And
glasses.
that
Let-
that does not mean that HETMA won't be there. That does not mean that AV Life won't be there.
right.
Rutgers University may not have a badge
Yes.
scan.
Tim
Okay,
Van
but-
Wert from Rutgers University will not be at Infocom. Now, Tim Van Wert, the host of the AV Life or HETMA member, maybe.
Okay, we gotta work on this because I got a lot of manufacturers.
So, yeah. So that was absolutely wonderful. And Joe, I
Are you
I
going
don't want to
to
get. I don't want.
15 minutes
I don't want to
over.
get too. I don't
Are
want
we
to get
doing
too biblical. I don't want to
Oh.
get too biblical, but you brought up scripture, and I felt really good about that. I don't know why, but
Oh,
that like, yeah, I got biblical for a minute. You know,
do we want
that
some more?
was-
Do we want some more?
It was fun. Good.
Okay.
That was
That's where I
that
went.
was- yeah.
It was like I just kept thinking
You-
that. I thought, wow.
Well, yeah, no, well, and that's you
This
know,
was
people
just a
say there's
great
something to that. So yeah. Anyway, without getting too far, away from that. So let's get
I
back.
love that. All right, Spence has to say something just so that the camera takes a shot.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
no, I got it on grid
Yeah,
mode, so everyone's seeing that right now. So
All right.
a future saint. Are you sure about that, Spence?
No, not a bit.
Okay.
In the future.
I
What's
couldn't
next?
resist.
All right. So
I've got. If we want to get scripture, I can bring it back into the discussion. But
Oh,
I don't know if we wanted to go there.
Will's gonna preach. What you
preaching.
got to say? What's your message? What's your message? Bring it.
Okay, so the message, and here's something that's interesting, probably to think about because I think it ties into the imposter syndrome.
Mm,
Balancing self-promotion, promoting the best interest of the institution, your company, your clients, with Proverbs 25:7, which is, it is better for him to say to you, come up here and sit
oh.
at my right hand than for him to humiliate you before his nobles.
Well,
Mm.
So basically, that's something I've always struggled with is how do you balance putting yourself out there? How do you balance putting what is needed out there versus leading up and not
mm.
speaking out of turn?
So
Well,
the,
here. Oh, go
so
ahead.
to
Go
get
right
into-
ahead. Tim stepped away. I was going to try to get over the show, but go right ahead, Murphy.
Hey, you know the wonderful thing about
That
Bluetooth
particular-
headphones is that I can still hear what's
Hear you.
happening.
the thing about that particular proverb is he's saying, oh, you shouldn't be busting yourself forward to get the favor of the king, to sit right next to the king,
Mhm.
right? you should wait. You should just do your good deeds and then do your good work. And then the king will say, no, I recognize you, and come forward.
Bingo.
And that can be true.
It has to do with intention. It's intention of your heart, of how you're looking to do this.
But you also have to get in front of the king to begin with.
But see, you also don't want to do that other. Bring up another proverb. Bring up another scripture here. You don't want to bury that gold. You don't want to bury your gold so that it can't get returned, right? You need to make sure to show what you're doing. You don't want to like sneakily do good work and have everybody wonder why everything's prospering. That's the opposite. So, I mean, it is kind of a bit of interpretation now to say like, oh, well, I shouldn't make a big deal of myself because Solomon said, just wait to be noticed. That's, it's when to do that. Most of the proverbs are like that.
Yeah, I've also seen a lot of people that kind of bury themselves in false humility of, well, I'm not appreciated. Don't try and step out. All these other people are, blah, 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 and kind of drown themselves in their sorrow. But I don't know. I think that's something that, I don't know, our people in general have to work on. And I don't have an answer for it. I'm just asking.
That's definitely a valid thing, because people feel nervous. They're like, well, I shouldn't be promoting myself. But then again, you don't want to hide your light under a bushel. That's probably the best one.
You're legit about your heart with why you're presenting. Look at Alicia and the way she goes out there and puts herself out there with that genuine heart. That will be seen. And now Tim can have his show back.
Yes. If your light is under a bushel, it's lost something kind of crucial. So there you
go.
Ooh, nice.
Little God spell right there. So anyway.
Musical theater.
I brought it all the way back to my musical theater stuff. So anyway, all right. So on to our sometimes regular segment, but we did a whole episode last week. So if you missed last week, go back. And we're going to do that. And now Joe Way's here, so he can actually participate this time. But Kim's not here, unfortunately.
If it goes much longer, I'm not going to be here.
Anyway, so it's time for the firing range.
Yay.
There we go. All right. So our article, actually, it comes from Kim. So it's unfortunately that she's not here.
The research staff. Sounds like her.
Yeah, our research staff, Kim by herself, a staff of one. Researchers have discovered within OpenAI that their state-of-the-art computer vision system can be deceived by tools no more sophisticated than a pen and pad. That basically their AI can look at an image, tell you what it is, but if that image has a word of something else attached to it, it throws off the entire thing. So the picture that's in the article shows a Granny Smith apple, and the AI defines it as a Granny Smith apple. And somebody puts a label over that same Granny Smith apple, and it says iPad, and it says that the apple is now an iPad. So, this could be an interesting discussion on.
What's the question?
Oh, that's we're gonna have teams or whatever.
Yeah. What? All right. So first, I'm gonna. Where do we feel like that this discussion is gonna go? Because I'm a little torn on where it goes.
So. I don't know that we need teams on this.
We need teams, and you need an opinion. Is a good thing, bad thing? Is it? Do we like AI? Not like AI? What's the question? You have to give us the question.
Oh, well, all right. Is this AI superior or inferior to humans? This very AI.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right, there you go. And we'll
you know what? In general.
I'm gonna leave it open for everybody to give their opinion. We're not gonna take teams just so that we can get going on this. And I will also lean towards Joe and towards James to go. So James, I think you're fading on us here. So go ahead, James.
Tired.
So
that was pretty slick. He wants to leave and you make him a team captain. That's how you keep it.
No. He wants to leave. I'm letting as a good
it's
captain,
not your show. You're not the boss of us. It's fine.
You'll take over.
No. I'm not doing that. I'm giving him I'm leading him off in the lineup so he can go. So go ahead, James. Let your opinion be heard.
So as I said when Kim shared this, is the problem with this whole study is very simple, is how does AI know which item you're talking about? If I hold up my phone and say, what object do I have? You guys are going to say a phone. Now, if I hold up two objects and go, what object do I have? Well, Tim might say I have a drink, and Joe might say I have a phone.
You have an AV Life background that the Zoom didn't show us.
No,
what
it's
we have.
blurted out.
For privacy. But yeah, that's what it is how are we telling the AI what is to be picked out? And especially when you take the label and make it over almost 90% of the apple was covered. I mean, there was the side of it. So you're now telling a AI, you have to look past this piece of paper and see the invisible apple to the AI. And that's a problem. And that's why I don't think AI will get to be where human judgment can go. Because humans can sit there and go, ask that question, well, which object are you talking about? Or can decipher by other means that are going around to say, this is the object I need to learn about. The AIs are going to be quick on just pulling all the data and processing it, but it's not going to be able to critically think what you're trying to say to it. I mean, again, Tim, Will, Joe, we work in higher education. Like my one article talk about is the process of understanding. If a faculty member calls and says, hey, the overhead's not working, an AI is not going to process and go, no, they mean a projector.
Wrong.
I'm going to leave it
wrong.
there.
Wrong.
Okay,
Wrong.
well,
You're
all right,
wrong.
Tell him why he's wrong. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, so by the way, those people have to look up. Okay, so Will has it on the screen. He has the thing. Here's why AI is smarter than us. It actually says that is a label as an iPod. It actually told us what it is.
It told you what the word was. It doesn't know what an
it's no longer a grant. Yeah, because you are assuming because of the previous picture that it is an apple. It's no longer an apple in the second picture. It's now a label that says iPod. And that's exactly what the AI told you it was. You are actually
it's an apple with paper.
No,
it's an apple with paper on it.
No, yeah, but that's the paper holder. It could have been a clipboard. It could have been anything.
Could have been. But then it would be a clipboard with a piece of paper.
No, but the
AI would not been able to process.
You are not allowed to burst into a firing range. That's not how this works.
Wait, I can't do a Joe Way and take over.
No, wait,
no, not during the fire range.
But we did not do teams either. So but here's the thing. Because of the inferior human mind, we are looking at it via the first picture. You are taking the first picture and projecting it onto the second picture. If you did not have that, you would say, what is that picture? You'd say it is an apple with an iPod label on it. However, if I were holding a garage sale, I would be selling an iPod thing, right? An iPod label. That's the big thing. That's what it is. The apple is serving as the holder for it. The AI picked out exactly what that picture is. About 25% of that entire picture is a label that says iPod. That's exactly what it told you it is. The apple is no longer the important part of the picture. You only think of it that way because you know the other picture.
Ooh.
I'm going to say, what's the point?
See, yes. That reaction right there already decided who won this firing range.
So basically, based on what Joe is saying, is that I could, if someone's using this AI and they were using it for facial recognition, I could have put a word on my face that says George Washington, and the facial recognition will just
Martha
say,
Washington.
"Oh, that's Martha Washington." That's just, and oh, there's what Martha Washington. She's walking right by.
But
Wow,
that's
she's
what
6'4", and
But that's what went by. That's
But
the whole thing.
No,
But then do you want to use that for
No.
gospel? I mean, do you want to use that for
Okay,
gospel if it
but
comes?
the question is,
I have a mask on that puts me as
this
a.
isn't about use case. See, if you take the mask, if you're asking the AI to tell you what it sees, it's telling you that it sees a label that says iPod, or
Which was
someone
my
with a
first
mask,
argument.
a mask of Martha Washington,
yeah,
right? It's not gonna, no matter what, even a human can't tell you who is behind the mask of Martha Washington, right? It's telling you what it sees.
Okay,
can
but
tell you-
go back-
Go
there's a
Google
little
what are
News.
you
there,
using
Joe.
this for? What are you using this
Exactly.
technology
We
for?
left out the
Yeah.
use case. The
Okay.
I
use
enjoy
case
Google News
isn't-
and
has been
I
left
can't
out of
tell
it.
you- I can't tell you how many times it's given me a picture that has nothing to do with the story just because the AI matched it up. On the other hand, I love Google Photos because if I need to know, like if I'm looking for, I don't know, pictures of wires, sure, some of the things in there aren't wires, but it saved me scrolling through thousands and thousands of photos and gave me, you know,
And-
100 maybe that I
and-
just need to scroll through and find the right one.
Also, the results of this thing are probably only what is the number one thing that you recognize.
That
It's
was
not
going with my
asked,
first
tell
argument.
me everything in that picture.
Yep.
If you said, give me the top 5 things in the picture, it's going to say a label that says iPod, an apple, a piece of wood, and a fence are going to be your top 4. Maybe that little bucket or something that's on the side. I can't tell what that is, but maybe the AI could tell me what it is.
That's it
Um,
goes.
but
What
you get what I'm
object are you
saying.
talking about?
Let me just break in here real quick. Okay.
Go ahead, Spence.
Yeah.
I would like to. We've got all these authors on here that I love dearly. I love everybody on here, but words have meaning. Okay. If you look at this article, and this is coming from somebody that happens to know a real spooky United States Air Force test pilot that does all sorts of spooky stuff. Okay. But these are some phrases taken from this article that should tell us everything that we need to know. First off, the state of the art of AI. Okay. Art. Typographic attacks. Adversarial images. Now, this is the one that I really liked. Okay. And this is all in basically 1 or 2 sentences. Tesla, AI, driving, and sticker in the road. Okay, what can possibly go wrong with the sticker in the road? Okay, without close supervision, multinodal neurons that respond to images of objects such as an anvil, also sketches, maybe Stickman, cartoons, Wile E. Coyote, and associated text like boom. Okay, it seems like they say this seems to mirror how the human brain reacts to stimuli and abstract concepts. What can possibly go wrong with this?
Can we say
Okay.
It's a big
Skynet?
challenge.
Okay, no,
with-
here's the thing. Human brain does not act much differently than this AI. There are all kinds of tests where I've seen where you have to look at the word and the word will be green, but it will be written in blue and it switches. You're like, which is it? Is the word blue or is it green? And so this is very similar. Remember that that video of everybody tossing balls back and forth? I'm sorry, I'm hitting the microphone. People tossing balls back and forth and a gorilla walks through. And did you see the gorilla? Remember that video? Our brains do
Yeah.
this. But the thing about human beings is we have more than our eyes. We have more senses happening that'll tell us. So if it's just the camera, that's not enough information for an AI to be reliable.
Garbage in, garbage out. I think the problem is not so much what's important, but figuring out how to disregard what's not important.
And we are not perfect at that. AIs are going to be
Mhm.
the same way too. And so there should be redundant systems. If we're going to rely on self-driving cars, they're going to have more than one thing to avoid responding to words in the road that tell them to stop when they really are going.
Well, I
60 miles an hour.
completely agree with that. I think we are like miles away from speaking of driving,
Miles away.
self-driving cars. I have a newer Nissan, and it has the lane departure warning in it, and like it also does what they call steering assist. So like I could set it and let go of the gas, and for a couple seconds I can let go of the steering wheel, and the car stays in lane as we go along. But I still need to hit the brake if I need to, or like there's a certain amount it does, but I think the only way that AI in cars works is if all the cars are doing it.
Is when it's a train.
When we're all attached to each other, yeah.
Well, I just mean on a rail, so it can't.
Oh, on a rail. Oh, like that. Like on a track. Yeah. Okay. Well,
it's like that. Like with AIs, it's constantly learning, so
Mhm.
it's going to evolve over time. It's the same with speech, like with our product that we have and the one we have coming out, which is translation. And it doesn't have the nuances and the context, and
Are we going to put our kids in those cars until they get retrained?
They won't need to go anywhere. They'll just stay home.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, they are
So, yeah,
quarantined
well,
now. So
according to like what the rules of robotics is that, one of the rules of robotics is that do no harm, essentially,
Yes.
to humans.
Right. Yes.
So, but is that the default setting in AI when you're telling your AI when it's trying to be more human-like to drive your car for you?
that never worked well in Total Recall, did it?
No, it didn't work too well in Total Recall. It worked in iRobot.
Yeah.
But then again, all the cars were under the same AI system. They were all controlled that way. So that's how it worked there.
Well, it didn't work so well with the Clone Wars.
No, but it did.
No.
It came around good. What was that movie that had the little robot, that one of the first ones out there, that saw the butterfly, and then the evil robots took off, and then he tried to fix them? I can't remember what that movie was. It was a great movie, kids movie.
I was gonna say I'm drawing a blank on that.
I have no idea.
I was gonna say evil robots. I was thinking of Blade Runner there for a bit, but that's not what we were talking about there.
Short
so, yeah.
circuit. Short circuit. That's
Oh, Johnny 5. There you go.
Johnny 5.
So anyway, all right. Well, we're digressing now that Joe and James gave their opinion and then promptly left the show.
Yep.
So
That's it. Nice one, Will.
Oh, Johnny 5 getting struck by lightning there. Oh.
Let me put my background in. Hold on.
I thought I had him up as my background recently. So this is the problem, is that my collection of virtual backgrounds has become immense and almost ungainly at this point.
Yeah, I've been playing with a new software tool for that kind of thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say whatever you're working with is nice there. Well, anyway, so let's stay on target here as talking about a different movie.
Yeah, AIs are too stupid still.
So we're not quite there yet for AI. Nancy, do you have anything that's chime in on that?
No, that's what I was just saying, is that it's evolving. So,
Yeah.
as we move forward, it's learning and becoming better and better. I mean, I think it was on Mashable, I kept seeing on Twitter this week, they were showing robots now that can actually do contracting work. So like laying sheetrock in a home.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
accounting work, like in the office.
Yeah. So
isn't it scary?
It is. It is.
I mean, I'm mad enough that I have to stack my own groceries now at the grocery store if I go to the store. It's like, what the hell else are they going to take from us?
Hey, we don't even have robots, and we go to Kroger's, we text it in there, and they still screw it up. So my point is, this can't possibly end well.
It's not good.
Yeah, no, it's not. AI is not ready for what we require of it. So it
isn't, but don't you think it's kind of scary, the movies that they've had out in the past, and all of a sudden you're beginning to see that they're
Yes.
having these robots that are looking very
Oh.
human, and that you know
Yeah.
all of the. That's
Spence, I think we
Well,
should
that
change
Minority
our,
Report was a scary
Spence.
movie.
ready?
Yeah.
We need to move from we need meats to we need people.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Just need to-
That's
Well, that's the thing is that you're talking about
I don't
robots
want to
taking
sack
over.
my own groceries and
That's
go
right.
across the scanner.
I didn't climb to the top of the food chain to eat the bushes.
On the bushes. Some of them are good.
As side
I think-
dishes.
Hashtag we do still need meat.
We still need meat.
Yeah, I think we've got a long way to go before. I mean, just look at the article we were discussing about how easily it's fooled.
Mhm.
I think there's a long way to go before we replace people. It's really the money to be made.
Well,
and
that's-
job opportunities are like, you know, the
Well, I
people
said on the
programming it.
Slack
And that's-
channel, because nobody's on the Slack channel but us, but I was like, Joe Way, if he's driving down the California, whatever the California freeway is, with his little,
5, yeah.
whatever that deal was where he had all the like
The rainbow mode.
rainbow deal, and then one little
Yeah.
thing in the road, and he's
Yeah,
gonna.
I was waiting for us to hear the screech and have a very exciting episode.
I know. We'll wait till that all
And a
AI.
squash
kicks in.
squirrel.
He's like, oh. I'm sorry, we were seeing the rainbow and the squatch in the road. It's like, yeah,
Mhm.
we're not there. We're just not there. But I'm
No.
old.
And the irony is, we say we're not there. We as a consumer are not there. But like I say, I know a test pilot that talks about some downright spooky technology that is there.
Mhm.
And I think there's a difference. There is some sort of a dividing line between what consumer versus others
Mhm.
Yes.
have technology there, and it would probably scare the crap out of all of us.
And as
Oh,
an
I
old
completely
technology,
agree with that.
I agree with Spence.
To
Yeah,
jump
I
back to
completely
the
agree.
iRobot and robotic stuff, what was the thing?
And then automation robots work well.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, yeah,
so
because
that
they're
might
given
be
a
an
set.
application.
Right.
set,
They're
yeah.
given a set group of parameters. Like, you have an automation robot that like, okay, he picks up the door and puts it on the car. Like that's their parameters and they're given that to do. And there's probably some limited AI that they have to say, okay, well, the door is upside down. So I need to flip it up the right side up before I put it on the car. But, and that Apple with the label on it is proof that without parameters, AI is useless.
Well,
Yeah,
and
so-
I think that it is getting to the point too, to where the average consumer, I know that when I was doing some recuperating here in the last few months, I decided I'd always heard of this Arduino technology. I sat there and thought, okay, that sounds pretty cool. I'm a ham radio operator. I know that there were a couple books out there on some of the applications. So I got a kit. It's amazing. In 15 minutes, you can, and I'm not a computer science engineer, but in 15 minutes, I'd written a piece of code that was making a motor do something.
Yep.
And my point simply is I think that we are going to see this. It's that old adage, okay, just because we can do something, should we do something? And I just think that there is a fine line between good and evil in a lot of these situations there. And you just wonder,
Whose hands does it get into?
Yeah,
What's
I found the quote I was looking for. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic.
There you go.
Arthur
Yeah.
C. Clarke, he's the one that did the
yeah.
3 laws with iRobot and stuff.
And
Well,
that was, and that was
even-
like what, 100 years ago? Like, I mean, right, Arthur C. Clarke. I'm throwing wild numbers out there, but it's.
Yeah.
I mean, like, but it was like at a time where, like, that was like, this was science fiction, as it were, and now it's
Yeah.
becoming science fact.
Well,
Right,
and in that article, the one thing that really concerned me, and they were just so the the writer of the article was very, fact-based on this thing. But when they use the term without close supervision, that's the type of wording that concerns me, that we are so easy to use terms like that, because man historically has always kind of bumped up against that one line and then peeked over the side to where maybe he shouldn't have peeked over. So without close supervision, I think that's where things kind of get a little concerning to me personally, because, I mean, if something went to the refrigerator and got me something and brought it back, that'd be great. That's useful. But there could be a lot of other things that are not as useful.
Right, exactly.
Scary.
So I guess the short of it is that we have a long way to go with AI still. And actually it's interesting. We've had guests on in the past that have talked about AI, and we should probably actually have them back, because
that would be good.
It's been a couple of years. What's that?
We need to have RV back on, huh?
Yeah. He's getting ready. He's moving, and we need to get him back on and catch up with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need to, I think next month we're the theme for hireatav.com is going to be emerging tech. So that's April's theme. So as we get closer, we'll bring in some guests that are a little bit more on the front lines of things, and talking about that, for April. So plus it's my birthday month, so maybe we'll do a birthday episode. So we'll see. Talk about self-promotion. It's like, it's my birthday in April.
You learn from the best.
You'll quit doing that sooner or later.
Maybe I'll just go to my head like Joe Way.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, I got to mute. Hold on.
Let me tell you. He's gone now, so it doesn't matter. So I was almost gonna play with his mute button and start, since I'm the host, but I was like, let it, because then it got really good. And I'm like,
let's
I'm not
take
gonna
a
stop
pact.
things.
We're going to do that one time.
Oh yeah. Oh well, now we can't do it because we put it on the podcast, so I'm still recording right.
Do you think he listens to the very end?
I don't think
I can start swearing, and then you'll have to edit anyway.
Edit that part.
You know what, Will? I think that would floor me more than anything else, because I feel like you're the guy that no offense, but you're the guy that doesn't swear all that often.
He was the one that brought up Proverbs, and he's going to start swearing.
Exactly. Right.
I know.
Oh my God.
But anyway.
Great time tonight.
I think
Great.
we've come to the end of what we can learn through anal probing.
Wait.
Wait.
Well, there's the edit.
Where did we get there?
You know what? We need
to
to do one of these to where we start drinking our favorite adult beverages right from the very beginning and see where this goes at the end of 2 hours.
I've had 2 tonight, so
we don't do that.
Yeah, I go, well,
this is what I've been doing all night. This is.
Oh, those are so cute. Is that Arizona iced tea? That's great.
No. This is from Ghost Hawk Brewing Company. They are here in Clifton, New Jersey. Wow. It's a local. I've had 2 of their what is this? This is American wheat with cherry flavor. They're Blanton. So it's
clearly we haven't reached the end of
and
what
now they are a sponsor.
Yeah, yes, they've gotten a shout out. I should reach out and be like, hey, I could plug your beer, although it's only available right here in New Jersey.
Oh,
yes.
Well, I think I'm going to need to get out of here at some point there, but I got my COVID shot today, my first one, and I feel like crap all evening, but you all made it more fun.
Well, glad we were able to, laughter, they say laughter is the best medicine, Spence. So you go and rest up. I'm actually going to close it up anyhow. So I'm going to say, well,
I said be well.
Be well. Oh, okay. I didn't hear the B part. I was like, are we continuing, Murphy? I was not aware of this. So, all right, rest up, Spence.
All right,
Will.
Take care.
Will, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Great show.
Yes, thank you. Really appreciate you, Will, coming out. Let our listeners know, because we are still recording, where they can find you.
Oh, yeah, you can find me LinkedIn. What is my Twitter handle even? Will DeWitt. Sorry, Will R. DeWitt. I'm on Twitter.
It's really original.
Twitter member.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I that.
Wow.
So
Twitter is fine.
So yeah, go follow Will. It's great having you, Will. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you to the crew as always. Thank you to Alicia as well. It was great having her on tonight, and made for a great episode. And until our next adventure.